Assalamu alaikum guys, and welcome to Daryeel Kitchen, home to delicious food made simple. In today's recipe I'm going to show you how to make this delicious Somali cake. It's very popular in Somalia, especially during Eid, because it's one of the cakes that you will always find in everyone's table, and it's so easy to make. The great thing, it's so spongy, so delicious, and it smells amazing because of the cardamom. So I'm gonna just go ahead and start, but before we start, go ahead and subscribe if you haven't subscribed and press that notification button. So to start with the cake, all you need is some sugar, some eggs. Make sure the eggs are room temperature, flour. I'm using plain flour, some oil, milk, and that adds a really nice texture to the cake. You need a little bit of salt, some baking powder, some tea spices, cardamom, and then that's all. Make sure you have a cake tin ready and apply some butter, dust with flour, just to make sure the cake comes out later on. So the first step that we need to do is mix the egg and the sugar together for a few minutes. You can do this process by either using a hand mixer or otherwise by hand. I wouldn't recommend by hand because it may take a bit of time, but just use a hand mixer if you have, and then just beat this for a good few minutes until the color changes, and you will notice it starts with almost like a very yellowy color and liquidy, and then as you beat this it will become very foamy, and then it will turn into a nice like almost pale color and with a nice texture. Once you reach this color that you see right now, the egg and sugar mixture is almost ready. And it's really important because what gives the cake volume is this part and the baking powder. Especially this part will create a really nice airy spongy cake, so make sure you give the extra few minutes. Once we're done, you can see it's almost like a ribbon stage, and you know the sugar and egg mixture are ready. And then we're going to add the rest of our ingredients. I would normally add vanilla at this stage, but I've run out, so I'm going to add I always add vanilla and cardamoms, but if you have vanilla you can add, but if you don't have the cardamom, ground cardamom spices will do the job. And then all we need to do next is just mix our dry ingredients, the flour, the baking powder, and the pinch of salt. And you just want to make sure you have your dry ingredients ready. Then add some of the oil and some of the milk, and this gives your cake really nice like a soft texture, and also make sure the cake doesn't dry. So you don't want a dry Somali cake, that's no. It has to be really nice, soft, but at the same time have that beautiful color and texture as well. And then all you want to do next is just sift all your dry ingredients. This is process that I have adapted recently, because I've noticed when you sift your dry ingredients, especially the flour, the cake becomes more airy, more soft. So if you have the time, go and do this, but if not, it doesn't matter. But yeah, I've come to do this now. I used to remember growing up, we used to do this, and I used to think, why is mom doing all this extra job? But you know what, it's worth it, guys. I've learned that now. And then you want to add all the dry ingredients in stages, and the reason I do this is just to avoid a big mess. So add in stages and then mix. One thing I like to do, and you may have noticed if you've watched my other cake videos, is always finish this part by using a spatula. If you use the mixer, it tends to create, the cake becomes a little bit dense, and we don't want that. So slightly fold in the rest of the dry ingredients a few times, and it's ready. So once you've mixed the cake, it's ready. Just make sure the oven is already preheating at 175 degrees. And then next we are going to transfer our cake mixture into the tin, and just try and transfer. I always like to do one side and then I turn the tin around, just to make sure that I don't play it doesn't go on the sides. And then we're almost ready, guys, and I really wanted to share this cake with you guys, especially since Eid could be is tomorrow now for sure, so you guys can make this for your family today and you have yourself Somali cake. Then the other trick I always do is tap the cake tin a couple of times on the kitchen counter, and then it's ready, just to make sure everything is set and there's no any bubbles or anything. Then now all we have to do is place the cake in the oven, and for 30 to 35 minutes. You'll get the full recipe as well as the ingredient list in the description box below. And like you can see, the cake is ready. I always like to try with a pasta stick or toothstick, so anything, toothpick, anything that you have. And if that comes out dry, the cake is ready. You can see, guys, the cake is so nice and golden color, and you want to achieve that color. Always make sure you bake in the middle rack of the oven so it gets like a good level distribution of heat, so the cake is fully cooked at the same time, good color. And then all we need to do now is let this sit for about 10-15 minutes, and then we're going to flip this over. And yeah, it comes out quite easy, just like that. And there you go, the cake is flipped. Ignore the little dents because I've got a bit of history with the cake tin. So but there you go, guys, we've made Somali cake. And this cake, I mean, I would recommend you guys try it, make it for your family. Let me know what you think. Some of you have already made this recipe and send me the picture. Thank you so much. I really appreciate all your comments and lovely support messages that you send me. And yeah, all we need to do now is wait for Eid and enjoy this cake. And you can see the cake is, I'm going to show you guys the inside. It's so spongy. I mean, let's cut this cake together. And you know what, it's like so spongy, almost I mean, it's like a pillow. I always say it's like a pillow. It's so soft and spongy. And then the inside is so fluffy, so airy, and that's all you need. And then you have the smell, which if you bake Somali cake, you can smell, I mean, throughout the whole house you have that cardamom smell. And that's all, guys. Thank you so much, and inshallah until we meet next time, assalamu alaikum.